Clark, and I'm a Pilates instructor and therapist at Mountain Massage Company in the Lake District in the UK. I'm going to take you through a short warm-up sequence that I really like, that sort of works on getting a few things warmed up and a few things mobilised and stretched. So we're actually going to start down on the mat. So make your way down to the mat for me. And we're going to come into our 4-point kneeling. So we do a lot of exercises start in this position, so it's important to get it right. So the shoulders want to be kind of over the hands. The hands can be slightly forward of the shoulders. And if you get any wrist problems, try to think kind of grippy fingers, so sort of like Spider-Man hands, like into the ground. The knees want to be under the hips in this position. And we want that tummy switched on, so that feeling of that low down sort of belt or low down corset being tightened around the pelvis and pelvic floor switched on. So that's the feeling of sort of a tightening around the back passage, as if you need to stop yourself from passing gas or stop yourself from going to the toilet. Okay, neck wants to be nice and long, chin tucked. Imagine you're holding a little ripe peach under your chin in this position. And we're going to start with our cat stretch. So with our cat, we're going to just gently tip imagine you've got a tail coming out of your tailbone. You're going to tuck that tail between your legs. You're going to round the back, push the ground away with your arms. And we're going to take the eye gaze down to the knees. So we're creating a little dome shape. And then we're going to reverse that, and we're going to keep the arms kind of straight. We're going to dip the chest. We're going to gently look up, so maybe skirting board level. And now we're going to stick that imaginary tail proudly into the air. And we're going to flow between those two movements. So we're making an arch shape with our back, and then we're making a dip shape with our back. And you can breathe in as you look forward, and you can breathe out as you arch the back and look towards the knees. Let's do another couple here. So this is a really lovely exercise to get a bit of flexion and extension in the spine. So sometimes it's called an angry cat, sad cat, happy cat. Sometimes it's called cat-cow. And you'll hear it referred to a few different names. Okay, and now we're going to add a little bit of rotation in. So we're going to go for our thread the needle. So with our thread the needle, we're going to bring the weight onto one arm, and we're going to take the other arm and we're going to thread it through this gap, and you can allow your body to rotate and reach the fingertips as far as you can towards the side of the room. You should get a lovely rotation through the back. We're just going to stick with the threading movement for now. And you should get a nice stretch sort of in the shoulder and the mid-back and the upper back as well. You can use the ground to kind of sort of brace away from grip, just to get a bit more stretch there. Let's do another couple on this side. And feel free to pause this video at any point if you want to spend a bit longer on any exercise or revisit it. So this is a nice one for getting a bit of rotation. Okay. Try to keep the hips over the knees. So I'm leaning back into this a little bit. My back's a bit stiff today, but you'll get more rotation if you try to keep your hips over the knees. Let's do a few on the other side. So again, just shift the weight over, and we're just going to thread through that gap and rotate through, and fingertips sort of reach along the floor. So I'm not getting a huge movement here today because I'm a little bit stiff in rotation, but you might go a lot further. It depends on your mobility. We're all a bit different. So we've all got different flexibility and mobility. Lovely. Okay. We're going to stay down here and start to warm the back muscles up with a little bit of swing. So with our swing, we can start with just legs, so we can reach one leg out behind us, reach the toes and stretch away, and we float the leg off the floor. And then we bring it back in. So you can stay on one side, or we can alternate sides. If you know that you can go straight into sort of opposite arm, opposite leg, please do so. So So I'm keeping my tummy tucked and I'm keeping my back flat. I want you to imagine that there's a tray of drinks resting on your lower back and you don't want to spill it. So as we transition over to the other side, let's keep that back nice and still and steady. Let's not spill those drinks as we do a few reps on the other side. So guys, if you can do the opposite arm, opposite leg, please do so. Okay, let's just demo the arms and then you can add them in together. So with the arms, again, I'm reaching and then I'm floating. So shoulder stays away from ear, back stays nice and still. Let's just warm the shoulders up with a couple on each side. And then we'll go for opposite arm, opposite leg. So you can either carry on just legs and then just do just arms, or you can start to try both movements. So let's go opposite arm, opposite leg this time. So reach and float, back stays nice and still, tummy stays tucked, pelvic floor switched on. Back of the neck is nice and long. Chin is tucked, imagine you've got that little ball or ripe peach under your chin that you don't want to drop. Good, and you can breathe out as you take the leg and the arm away, and breathe in as you come back and reset. So just watch that transition in the middle, that we sort of don't get any lurching from side to side. That's the bit that you need to sort of think about. Good. Lovely. Let's do another one on each side. So this is just warming up the back of the body, it's warming up the abdominals, we're still working the arms, we're still working the shoulders, the hips are getting warmed up. Good. And from here, we can push back into that child's pose for a second and just stretch that spine out. So we can either go narrow-legged or wide-kneed on this one. And you can bring the arms out in front. So we call this shell pose in Pilates, or you might know it as a version of child's pose from yoga. Just take a couple of breaths there for me, guys. Okay. We're going to warm up the side of the body now. So I'm going to come into our side kick. I'm going to try it kneeling. So if you come and have a kneel, so we're going high kneeling first of all, bring the arms out wide, and then we're going to tip over onto one side. So we're going to come into this position. Now, if you instantly feel crampy in this hip, I'd suggest getting a couple of books, something to lean on, just so your hand, and that's something nice and stable to lean on, so your hand is a little bit off the ground, okay? So I'm just sort of resting on a kettlebell there, but you could use a couple of books or something. Okay, so if you instantly get cramp in that bottom hip in this position, just raise your hand up a little bit and you'll find that that's a little bit easier, okay? Otherwise, we're going to be down on the hand. I want you to open up the bottom hip and push it towards me, so that the front of the body is nice and open, the hips over the knee, and the shoulders still over the hand. The neck's nice and strong, so the head's not dropped down, still in line with the body. And we're going to go for some lift and lower here. So we're just going to float that leg just up in line with the body. You'll feel your bottom hip working and protesting probably quite quickly. Your neck and your shoulders having to work quite hard in this position as well. Okay, let's go for a couple more. So again, you can stay longer on this one, but we're just doing a little run through. Okay, come out of this position. Let's go over to the other side. So remember, you might need something to pop your hand on and brace your hand. Okay. So we're getting that shoulder over our hand and hip is over knee. Open up the body towards me, and we're going to go for some lift and lower. Again, think nice and long and strong through the neck, the chin still tucked, think length through the body, lower tummy switched on, pelvic floor switched on, so that's our Pilates centre that we refer to. And we're going to go for some lifts and lowers here, and if you want to add the breath here, we can breathe out and in as you touch down. Okay, I know it's protesting, couple more. Lovely, okay. Come in, we're going to have a little turn onto our back. So if you've got a little folded up towel or a little thin head cushion, we can bring that under the back of the head. to keep the neck nice and neutral. So it's not just for our comfort, it's for our alignment as well. So we want that just under the back of our head. So everyone's a different shape here. So some of you might need a bit of a thicker cushion to keep your spine in neutral. And some of you will be fine with a nice thin cushion like I've got here. Okay, we're just going to have a little hamstring stretch now. So we're going to just raise one leg up. You can hold behind the back of the legs. This is where you'll see how tight my hamstrings are. So you'll see that I actually can't really straighten my leg. I've got a little bend in the knee there. So some of you will be perfectly straight up towards the sky. Some of you will be able to bring your leg a little bit closer to you. If you really struggle on the hamstring stretch here, you can use like a belt or a strap or something, or maybe a belt off a dressing gown or something, to pop behind the leg, and that will just sort of give you a little bit more length, and you might be able to get your hamstring stretch a little bit better there. Okay, so there's an option for you there. Have another couple of seconds there, and let's place that leg down. Let's have a little hamstring stretch on this side as well. So tight hamstrings and tight sort of bottom muscles, tight gluteal muscles, can be a big issue with lower back pain actually. So if you're having to spend quite a lot of time seated at the moment, doing a bit of hamstring and glute sort of stretching can actually help that. Okay, and we're just going to warm the abdominals up now with our abdo prep. So let's bring our hands behind the back of our head, so just at the base of the skull. And with our abdo prep, we're just going to use our abdominals to curl us up. So I want your neck to stay nice and long and your chin to stay nice and relaxed here. So even though your body will want to use the neck muscles, the neck muscles at the front of the neck here, I want you to try and keep the head and the neck nice and relaxed. We want to try and use the muscles here and the upper abdominals. So I want you to think about little springs attaching from your ribs down to your pelvis, the front of your pelvis. And I want you to imagine those springs shortening as you come up and just lengthening to lower you back down. Okay, so I want you to think about bringing the emphasis of the movement into those abdominals here. So keep those lower abdominals switched on. So again, that feeling of that low down corset being tightened up. Pelvic floor switched on here to stop any sort of pressure down below. And we're just going to curl up. Some people like to imagine a little thread sort of in their sternum, their breastbone, and that thread kind of attaching up to the sort of the where the wall meets the ceiling, and just pulling them up from this position. If you know you've got the neck control, you can have the hands down by your side, and you can reach the fingertips down towards the feet as you come up. Okay. But just watch out for that chin and that neck overworking. You shouldn't feel this in the neck ideally, okay? You want to feel it. This is an abdominal exercise. Let's go for a couple more. Just warming those abdominals up. Lovely. Okay, so that's nearly finished our warm-up section for today. We're just going to hug the knees in and have a little roll from side to side. And if you're joining me for the next section, I'll see you in the next video.